the most important question for me, I'm surprised that you thought it was the book. For me, it was the goals. Because when you can tell a lot by how someone speaks about their goals and what their goals actually are.
I want to know how bad you want this goal. I want to know why is it so important for you? Why? Because if it's not something that's so important for you, you're not gonna have a deep desire to win. You're not gonna persevere through all the challenges.
The number one trait for success is conscientiousness, right? In other words, like perfectionism, right? Being fucking on point with every little detail, right? Being obsessed with the details, not making little mistakes.
All right, guys, welcome to another C2G podcast. We just had a massive hiring round in our agency. We had 100 interviews in one day. And today we're gonna talk about the scary truth about hiring salespeople so you don't get spooked and ghosted. Misha, take it away.
Yeah, we're filming this on Halloween, just for the people who don't get the joke.
It doesn't actually look like that, guys.
But yeah, so we had a massive group interview. We're scaling a lot on the agency side. Dylan's doing his thing. Either landing new accounts, new contracts, or also expanding current offers, which is pretty crazy, by the way. That because during election season, ad costs go way up, and we're basically scaling everything right now. So it's definitely a really good sign as to what's to come. And yeah, our biggest thing is, we've done so much hiring. It's like we're looking for guys who are going to stick around big picture, right? We've gone through so many sales reps where I think we have it's never 100%. You never know for sure. It's impossible to know for sure if someone's really going to be a top performer big picture. But I think we've all learned a lot just by seeing reps, seeing what works, seeing what doesn't, and we've already gone through that first group interview. We had, just about 100 people hop on. We cut down that 100. I think it was so we had 100 people apply for the group interview. We cut the list down to, I think it was 70, 60 that we allowed into the group interview. I believe a little bit over 50 showed up. Out of that 50, how many went to the next round?
16.
16, and we're only hiring probably 5 to 7. In between. So I guess, today's podcast, we're going to kind of talk about what that process is, what we're looking for exactly, and what it takes to be, in the top 5% basically of the hiring round, so that, people watching can set themselves up for success and get the perspective of, sales leaders who are, managing pretty massive offers. So, yeah, anything you guys want to say?
While it's true, it's very hard to tell, if you're gonna hire the right person. But I think we've done enough research and enough interviews to know how to delete 90% of the noise, right? By what's and I want to talk about different ways that we do this, so that if you're a sales leader watching this, you know exactly what to look for, and if you're a sales guy, you know exactly what we're looking for, what your sales manager is looking for exactly. And one thing that we didn't do that I would like to implement next time is a video. Video, have a list of questions, have them go through that, because it's proven. Malcolm Gladwell, Malcolm Gladwell, right?
Yeah.
He talks about this in his book Blink, where you can tell a lot by a person's interaction, their tonality, the way they answer questions and things like that. So even instead of us interviewing 16 people that might take 2 days, you can easily filter that out, have a 3-minute video, and you can tell a lot by the person.
Yeah.
Just delete a lot of the noise. Something definitely want to implement next.
Yeah, even the whole group interview, right? Because let's take a step back. Let's go through front to back the entire process of how we disqualified each round and got to the group that we currently have, right? So first things first, right? We put up the job posting in our community. We put it up on our stories. And also it seems like word kind of just got around, and the job posting got handed out in the high ticket sales space, which is fine. Yeah. Whatever. First thing that I saw, which is instant, I saw Patrick Bet-David talk about this. How Patrick Bet-David was talking about character traits of winners, right? and people who crush it. And Patrick Bet-David was like hopping on a call with the mayor of Miami, right? And he was talking about how like he connected with the guy, they met or something, and he was like, cool, have your assistant contact my assistant, and we'll set up a meeting, right? And it's like 2 a.m. Patrick Bet-David's, he like leaves the function where he met the guy. He's going back with his family in the car. Assistant is with him in the car. And then the assistant picks up the phone. Hey, who's this? Yeah, it's the mayor of Miami's assistant. Who's this? Yeah, let's coordinate a time. Boom, boom, boom. And within 5 minutes of them meeting and saying, hey, we're going to set up a time, instantly they set the meeting, even though it was like the middle of the night, middle of the morning, right? And he was talking about how that's a major sign as to, if somebody's a winner, if someone's a top performer, if someone's willing to respond fast, move fast, get things done, right? Move the needle. I was getting a lot of DMs. A lot of people are looking for amazing high-ticket sales jobs. Everybody wants inbound leads, great opportunities, make 10K a month. And a lot of people were DMing me, right? I'm like, DM me sales, right? People DM me sales. I message them back right away. Cool. Shoot me over a quick voice note just with some background on yourself and what you're looking for.
Yeah.
And then we'll take it from there.
Yeah.
Right? And bro, probably like half just didn't respond.
Really?
Okay, whatever. Sure, they weren't serious in the first place. They were just fucking around trying to see what would happen if they shot the DM. Fine. I would say 25% took like well over 2 hours to respond to that message and actually send a voice note. And the only people that I considered were the people who responded back really within 30 minutes. Even like 30 minutes I feel like is kind of a stretch.
Sometimes.
Like it should be like instant. Boom. If you're in sales, you have to respond fast. You have to move fast. You have to communicate fast. But there was like 2 guys who actually met that criteria out of probably like 30, 40 people that DM me.
Yeah, because you're also a lead to them. That's why they need to respond pretty quickly, because you're a lead to them. They need to act like it. The interview process already started.
Yep.
And D says this all the time, right? The way you do one thing is the way you do everything.
Yeah.
If they take 30 minutes, 2 hours to respond to you, who would be their sales manager, what are they probably going to do with their leads?
Bro, it's crazy. You want to talk a little bit more about that, bro? Because I think that's a really important concept. It's like the sales interview process is probably the only interview process where you're actually demonstrating your skills of what you can do live while you're applying for the role, right?
What do you want to talk about?
Like the fact that I'm a lead and how they, approach that.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, like you just said, like the way that you do one thing, is the way you do everything. The way you respond, like you have to sell me on why I should be hiring you, right? I'm also a lead to you. So yes, response time, the way that you answer my questions, also the questions that you ask me. Right, I'm waiting for you to ask me questions because I want you to qualify me too. As much as I'm qualifying you, I want you to ask me like, what should I expect from you? Like, why should I work with your guys' company? You know what I mean? I want to know that you're also not gonna settle with any other company, and you're not just looking for any job, and you're gonna be okay with it. And so it's almost like, and it's not like exactly like a laid back conversation. Like it's gonna be like a little like high tension, which is fine. Like I want to know that you're able to get uncomfortable and you're willing to walk away from this opportunity, if that makes sense.
Yeah, because if someone will just like take any job, then like
says a lot about them.
Yeah. So yeah, I think that's like tip number fucking 1. Easiest thing that you can do is respond fast, text back fast. Like that's the first disqualifier. If someone's too slow on that, I don't care what else really happens. Like you've basically lost the opportunity in my eyes. And then cool. So what did you guys think of the group interview? Was there anything that you guys were looking out for specifically?
Well, I mean, let's talk about how we structured the group interview and like what our intention was with that, because it seems like we want to kind of take 2 angles. One angle for sales leaders and the other angle for sales people who are looking to get hired. When it came down to the group interview, were there like some key things that you guys noticed on how we structured things and even the questions we asked? The questions that Dylan wanted us to ask everybody in the breakout rooms. Did you see like any science or methodology behind that?
No, I mean science, methodology, not really. I mean, I think the whole purpose of the group interview It's just first impression, right? It's just really just gauging first impression. Like we had so many applicants, it's just like, okay, let's see, what you mentioned earlier with Blink, right, from Malcolm Gladwell. The way that someone responds to questions, the way that someone can think on their feet, their tonality, right? Their how sharp are they on their feet? Are they, right? So that's really all that we were testing for on that group interview, right?
What were the questions? It was like, what was your what's your favorite book?
Mm-hmm.
What are the two questions?
Well, it was three things. It was well first off, big group interview, right? Breaking down, hey, here's us, here's what we do, here are the roles we're hiring for, a little bit of background, here's what's up, blah blah blah. Cool. Let's break out into breakout rooms. Split the group up into three. I think I had maybe 15 to 20 in mind, and I'm sure it was the same for you guys. Questions were literally one by one, like minute and a half each, of background on you and your sales experience, why you applied for the role and your goals, and your favorite sales or personal development book and a lesson that you learned from it. And really, like that third question was the most important one for me, because that's like, can you pull some shit out of your ass on the spot, basically?
Yeah. It tells me a lot about you. Yeah, for sure.
Like, do you have something that you can say, or well, some people had some stupid ass responses. Like, no disrespect to anybody who applied. Obviously it takes guts to put yourself out there. But it's keeping it fucking real. Some people had dumb responses, right? And you got to work on that, right? Like, what's going to happen when your prospect asks you a question that you're not expected, and then you give them a stupid ass response, right? And it doesn't sound prepared. You're not going to do very well, right?
Exactly.
But yeah.
So what were you looking for from that question? You said it's the most important one in your eyes.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's two things. It's one, obviously we're asking about a book, right? Random question, but okay, are they personal developing? Are they reading something, right? If you're not, pretty easy disqualifier, right? Within reason, even if it's not, there was people who they weren't reading books, but they were doing training, they were watching podcasts, they talked about some of that stuff, so one, we're really just testing for that. Are they learning something new? But also, can they go back to something specific that was actionable, right? Is there something that's in their mind? Because so many people, a lot of people watch sales videos, a lot of people read sales books, but they don't change their actions because of it. Right? They just consume it and then just keep doing the same thing. Right? And you can tell which one they are. Are they the person who reads something and changes something, or the person that reads something and just continues to do the same thing by their answer?
Yeah. That's a question I asked one of the applicants today, and it's important to me. Before anything else, okay, what are your goals, all that stuff. But I'm like, okay, I have more personal questions to ask you. I'm like, what are you working on this week? Something you read, something your mentor told you. What's something that's that you're learning and you're applying? And I wanted to know speed of response and see if there's actually something. Because usually, bro, you know exactly what it is if you're learning this week. Like me, every week, I learn something new and I want to apply it every single day. And I was surprised. He answered the question right away. He was like, the leads have all the answers that you need. You just got to ask the right questions to get there. That's it. He answered right away. I'm like, okay, good.
It's a good question, too. It's a really good interview question.
It tells me about who you really are as a human being. Because, yes, I know we're going to make money, you want to make money, but at the end of the day, I need to know who you are, what your goals are, and if we both align, have the same values, because that's the only way we're going to grow. I'd rather hire somebody a little bit less talented, but is ambitious, wants to finish what they started, goal-oriented, they want to grow every single day, rather than somebody who just has cookie-cutter answers, bro. Just wants a job.
We spoke a lot about this on our podcast last week when we spoke about effort versus talent, and in general we've spoken a lot about just character traits that bring up that make up a great closer. And I feel like that's everything we're really filtering for. Okay, are they coachable? Are they someone who puts in the effort? Are they disciplined? Do they have standards and non-negotiables? A main thing that I was looking for, the most important question for me, I'm surprised that you thought it was the book. For me, it was the goals. Because when you can tell a lot by how someone speaks about their goals and what their goals actually are. If you brought up to me that a couple of people just responded, haha, the classic 10K per month. And it's dude, you're laughing about your goals.
Yeah.
what the hell?
Yeah,
If
yeah,
you don't
yeah.
take your goals seriously, how the hell do you ever expect to achieve them?
Mhm.
Or even some answers that I got where it's just like, oh, I want to make X, or, I want to step into the best version of myself. Well, down on paper, that sounds cool, but like, what the fuck does that actually mean?
Yeah.
Like, what I wish someone said, and a couple people actually said this, but like, tell me a story. Tell me a story of why that's your favorite book, or tell me a story of why your goals are your goals. And it sounds like the guy you're interviewing, actually shared more than just, oh, this week I'm working on this. He shared like, oh yeah, I realized X, so I made Y
Yes.
adjustment, and
Right.
this is what I'm doing every day.
But the one thing that I didn't like about that specific interview is the way that he answered his goals. Because when you were telling me about your goals, by the way, I want to know how bad you want this goal. I want to know why is it so important for you? Why? Because if it's not something that's so important for you, you're not gonna have a deep desire to win. You're not gonna persevere through all the challenges.
Exactly.
Because you don't have a strong enough why. At the end of the day, so that's what I'm looking for. Like, what the fuck is your why? Like, why are you doing this? And if you tell me something like, oh, because like I want to build like a nonprofit or things like that, you're 23 years old, tell me you want to build a nonprofit, that's your biggest goal. Like, I'd find that a little bit hard to believe. You know what I mean? Like, because like, I mean, that's such a far-fetched goal that you want to build. But
Well,
what about?
it's not like someone saying they want to build a nonprofit or not, but it's like if someone's just trying to bullshit something, it's very easy to tell. You can
Yeah.
tell if someone is generally, hey, like my purpose, Rome, like I want to do sales, but like I really want to build a nonprofit one day because of my upbringing or whatever. You're like, sure, bro, that's dope, great, I love that. Versus some people just pull some random shit out of their ass.
But I dug deep on that, and I'm like, why? And I love that he tried to bullshit his way, and he said a story. Story didn't make sense. I didn't want to, like, bro, like, that doesn't make sense. But I'm like, okay, all right. Because I want to see. You have the finesse factor.
Yeah.
I know
Yeah.
I'm asking these questions that you probably don't get every single day, but let's see how you handle it, And you told me a story. I'm like, okay, all right. You passed this one. Next question. But yeah, getting to know like their whys like is so important. So you can also use that as a sales leader and like to continue on motivate them and show them that you care. What else?
I think I mean like common theme that I'm noticing from like everything that we've spoke about, right? Like responding fast, having a real why and a real goal, right? The personal development stuff, right? It's all like, I remember because I made a YouTube video on like how to prepare for a sales job interview a while ago. And like I looked up like, okay, let me just like check out some other videos, see like what other people are talking about, and yeah, like a lot of those videos are massive, bro. Like all the videos are like the intro for every single one, all the big ones is, hey, so you have a sales job or you have a job interview coming up, and it's coming up in the next couple hours, and you want to prepare last minute. Here's the 5-minute breakdown of how to prepare for your sales job interview, and like the cookie cutter, like quick tips and tricks that you can use to be successful, right? And this is like all the top, YouTube videos that we're talking about how to prepare for an interview, and like the thing is especially like in this case, like you're not gonna get away with, I'm gonna hop on this call and I'm gonna say this. You actually have to be those things and embody those things, right? Like one, you actually have to be, if you want a big sales job, you actually have to embody the type of person that can get that job. Personal development, getting clear on your goals, right? Aligning your day-to-day actions with those goals, responding fast, and whatever else that we talk about, right?
Yeah.
There's no quick fucking fix to getting someone to do it. You actually have to be that person.
Now that you bring that up, I think that's what all sales managers, including us, are looking for. It's like alignment between what they share with us and who they actually are. Like if someone's saying, oh yeah, these are my goals, or if someone's saying I'm disciplined, or if someone's saying, I have strong work ethic, you can't really tell unless they're on the phone, but you can judge their character and like how they're acting, how they're moving, their demeanor, their eye contact, their body posture, the whole 9 yards.
Mm-hmm.
I had a few notes here that I wanted to bring up. Where is it?
While you grab those notes, I'll share something else that came to mind. So as we were doing the one-on-ones, with the next round, right? a big thing, right? Like we have, and even before this round, right? I took some time to really like define. We have like our agency values and our company values, right? And then I also have some values that are very important to me, and to for my sales team, right? Like certain values that like if you just don't align with them, then we're just not going to be a good fit, right? And it's just not going to work out. I can't find the list, but like one of them, number one, is self accountability. Like 1,000,000% self accountability, right? Owning your wins and also owning your losses, right? If I ever have a rep and I say, hey, slow week, what's going on? The lead sucked. Everybody's broke. Like that is an instant. Okay, so what? You're just gonna hope next week is better? What happens if it's not? You're just gonna continue to not perform and blame the leads, right? That's just not acceptable. And that person who's not self accountable just isn't gonna last on a sales team, right? We're testing for that in the interview process, right? So it's like when someone has a bad experience, maybe they had another sales job before and it went really bad, like that's fine. Like there was this one dude I was speaking to, he had, he was on an offer for like a month or something, right? Seemed like it was a good offer. He was selling for a big personal brand, high ticket, but from what he was saying was like very, like no real marketing channel, no real funnel or anything. It was just like stories, hey, DM, book, come through, whatever, right? I was like, hey, so tell me more about that experience. Yeah, this is what it was, 10K offer, and the leads were really unqualified and a lot of them weren't showing up and, this and that, and it just wasn't really a great offer. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. Well, tell me more about it, right? Whatever, getting into it. I'm like, okay, nice, man. And like, hey, like what's a lesson that you took away from that? Right? And like not once did I actually here's the exact question that I asked him, right? I'm like, okay, sure, man. It seems like, the offer is not super sophisticated, there's not a funnel in place, whatever, sure, that's fine. What changes did you make in your sales approach to adjust for that?
Good question.
And yeah, he didn't give me a great response. He wasn't ready for that. You can kind of tell by the tone and everything. I was like, okay, cool. So like you didn't really make a change and you kind of blame the thing. Cool. So like what lessons did you take away from, that experience? Also didn't really have a great response there. Right? I'm like, okay, cool. Like the accountability thing there, I just don't really see it. Right? And that was like one small red flag that I saw in that case.
That goes against
It's huge,
the core value you wrote down. I think you and me were having this chat. We were like, never blame the leads. 100% self-accountability, and like underperforming isn't a problem, but not knowing why is. And it's like, what are you gonna do? Always blame funnel and marketing? At a certain time, you gotta grow up.
Yeah, I mean, he's probably right. The funnel probably sucked, right? But blaming that, like, what does that do for you? It does nothing.
Takes all the power away from you.
Right? Now there's nothing you can do about the situation, as opposed to, okay, there's no VSLs, there's no videos, there's no nurturing. Okay, great. That means I'm telling a lot more stories on calls. I'm doing a lot more educating, right? I have a follow-up sequence maybe if I can't close on the first call, right? There's different things you can do to make up for that, right? So yeah, that's a big one. Accountability as well, huge.
Agreed. On the flip side, I asked a similar question to one of the interviews I did, and a good response sounded something like, I'm calling outbound at the moment just from a webinar opt-in. I'm speaking to a lot of people who are cold. I'm calling to people who are from June, July, who watched the webinar. And he was talking similar things about like, lead flow, this, and I asked like, hey, well, what lessons did you learn from that offer? What changes did you make? How are you improving? How are you growing in that offer? And like he gave me very specific points where it's like, hey, I'm piquing their curiosity more during the intro to really get them excited and interested into what I have to say. And that just shows, hey, this person's actually doing multiple different things to improve. Whether things are out of his control with lead flow and lead quality, he's doing what he can.
Mm-hmm. Nice.
And that's probably someone who would move on to the next stage of hiring.
Yeah, because it's like skill alone, right? Like skill can be taught, right? But like those character traits, they really can't, you know. And the fucking last thing that we want to do is like drill a message into their head that like they don't agree with, you know.
Yeah.
So like even if someone's like not that good and they don't have experience and they were on an offer and it went terrible, if they can like take full ownership and say, hey, these are the exact things that I've learned, here's how I'm improving, here's how I'm bouncing, like that's amazing, like awesome, you know. Did you find those notes that you were looking up?
Yeah, we'll talk about like the real fucking test. Like that's all great, the interview stuff, you know, questions, and from our experiences we're able to gauge, you know, because you can't really, you can just tell, you can't really explain. You can tell, yeah, he might be a good fit, but where the real test starts is when we give them the test project, we call it, or I call it test project. When we give them 2 weeks, we throw them the deep end, we see how they do. Now, obviously, we give them sales training, we train them up on the offer, we train them up on our structure and all that. But it's in like those 2 weeks where, like, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna be giving them the leads, and I want to see who's gonna be doing best, right? And I'm gonna let them know, like, by the way, like you have 2 weeks to kind of prove yourself. And you're not the only one. Like, I'm going to be picking one from 3. You have 2 weeks to prove to yourself, prove to us that you're a good fit. And I want to see how they do, how do they perform, how do they communicate with me, right? I listen to the call, see if they can take feedback. So that's going to be the real test soon. So yeah, we call it a test project.
Aside from just the obvious of them closing deals, what would you say like you're looking for in like a test project? I know you mentioned like communication, coachability, but could you expand on that?
Yeah. So for me, like, and I think for you guys as well, I have daily coaching calls, right? I have daily coaching calls every single day at 3 p.m. EST. And this is where I want to see if you're on time. I want to see if you want to come with questions. I bring up their calls, I give them feedback, and I want to see right away, like, how fast can you implement this feedback? Or see if they're able to, if that's how I know if they're coachable or not. Yeah, I mean, I'm thinking, what else do we do?
I have 3 things. But even on that, the coachability thing, like that's something that I feel like I've learned from hiring so many reps is like you can test for that right there on the interview. You know, like some guys, you give them a piece of feedback, hey bro, here's what you should have done differently, give them a piece of value, let's do the exact thing again. Do it again. Some guys just implement it right away, and you're like, yes, like let's fucking go. You know, like it's amazing. You're like, yes. The other guy, you give him a piece of feedback. Hey, do this exactly. When you hear that, do this, right? And then they just do the exact same thing again, and it's like, okay, cool, man. You know. But three things that on the trial run, I'm looking for. Number one, like let's keep it 100%, right? It's all about performance. Right, and in that 2 weeks, especially if we're running you know, in that sense where it's, you know, a couple guys competing for a spot, then yeah, top performer is going to win, right? That's number one, right? But the byproduct of how you get performance, one is inputs, right? So, you know, I try to give all my guys just like really clear goals, right? Depending on your schedule, let's say it's, you know, hey, I want to see you doing 100 dials every single day, no matter what. I want to see 5 offers made every single day, no matter what. And I want to see, you know, 300 minutes of talk time, right? Minimum. It's just like hit those things. Those have to happen, right? So inputs are important. And also a big one is conscientiousness. From, you know, pick that up from Ty Lopez. He says that according to Dr. David Buss, the author of Evolutionary Psychology, that is the number one trait for success is conscientiousness, right? In other words, like perfectionism, right? Being fucking on point with every little detail, right? Being obsessed with the details, not making little mistakes. And yeah, that's a huge one, you know, like especially when we have a team. There's all these little operations that need to happen, right? Customer support issues, questions, onboarding prospects. In those first 2 weeks, like if someone, we had a guy who, over the summer, who was in that trial period, and he was putting up some numbers, but he was just creating so many problems. And he just wasn't able to problem solve on the tiniest things, adding like nonsense things to my plate. Like I don't know if I ever told you this. So he had some customer from like 6 months ago, right? That he was on a call with, who got a built-out store,
Right.
right? And then the person was
E-com
like,
store.
yes,
Yeah.
the person was like, yeah, yeah, listen, I'm down to join your 5K program, but first I just want you to make me a new store with a different product, right? Because there was like different options for products that the store provided, right? And we know what that is, you know what I mean? Like we know what that is. We know what's up with that. The guy's just trying to slap him around. Oh, I just want this. Give this to me, and then I'll consider doing it, right? So he's like, Misha, like I have a 5K like right on the line. He's ready to do it. He just wants his $17 Shopify store template just redone with a different product. I'm like, okay. I was like, you know what? Fine. We'll get it redone just so I can prove a point. I was like,
Smart.
It's not gonna happen. We're gonna get it redone just so I can prove a point. We get it redone, send it out. What do you know? This guy wants another freaking product. He wants it remade again, right? And I'm like, little things like this, right? Lack of conscientiousness, problems over nothing coming up, over and over and over again, where it's like, oh my gosh, like I cannot work with this guy.
Something else I want to talk about when it comes to conscientiousness, like you can tell someone's conscientious or not through their communication. Like when it comes to like our communication with our reps and just our communication with each other, like it's so clear and concise. Like sometimes like you'll call me and it'll be a 30-second call. Yo,
Like
you want to go
15
here?
seconds.
You want to go here? Yeah, I'm down. When? Now? Okay, bet. Bye. It's just like simple yes to the point, just get shit done. But the amount of times where people will send you like a damn essay for a simple question, it's like, dude, I didn't need this context. Just give me the damn question.
Yeah.
Or even EOD reports is something that's so key for us, where it's like if you're going on an essay saying why you didn't close someone, it's like, dude, it's like, is it an urgency, belief, or trust issue? You don't need to give me this whole long-winded story. And that's so key, especially in like the line of work that we're in. Like communicating to your sales managers in a very clear, concise way is so key, but to your prospects as well.
100%, 100%. And we have to call that out, on the spot right away, like Misha did yesterday or 2 days ago with that one gentleman. You're like, number one, we're not customer support, and number two, like, we're not gonna read like long essays. Like, use ChatGPT if you have to. Use this prompt to make it shorter.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, will never happen again. But we gotta communicate that right then and then.
Yeah.
Right. So yeah, input 100%. Consistency. You're dialing 100 leads every single day. I want to see your talk time. I want to see everything at the end of the day. I want to see consistency. So number one, conscientiousness. Yes, the way that you take feedback. Yes, if you apply feedback, I want to see how you take feedback. Are you gonna argue with me, or are you gonna take accountability, even if you think I'm wrong, bro? You know what I mean? Like, are you gonna argue with me, or are you gonna take accountability and actually go and try it? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And number three,
performance.
Performance.
Yeah. And just to touch on that too, right? Because even with some stuff, right? It's like we gotta, you have to communicate it, right? If someone makes a mistake, that's fine. Like it's not a big deal to make a mistake, right? Yeah. But it's a problem when you make the same mistake again after receiving feedback. It's an even bigger problem if it happens another time, right? That's the issue, right? So, yeah, and then performance for sure. That's what it comes down to. Like you want to see like especially the way that we do it, right? Like the offer that I'm hiring guys on right now. The top guys on the offer are getting filled out book calls every single day, 10 plus, great opportunity. They're doing very well, commission wise. And, my goal, I'm looking for a full-time guy to close side by side with them, right? But the last thing that I'm going to do is take some new guy and just throw him in there right away at that top spot, right? They have to work their way up. So number one is like on those, older leads on the outbound calls, like in that 2-week period, I make it clear even in the interviews, hey, like you're not going to make a lot of money. What you are going to do is you're going to build comfort with the offer. You're going to build confidence. And I want to see your ability to just make something happen, to make a freaking deal happen, because there's also like that X factor that some people have and some people don't.
Yeah.
Right.
Setting that expectation is huge, bro.
Yeah.
Letting them know, like, by the way, yeah, your goal is 20K a month, but you're not going to make that next month. You're not going to make that in 2 months. You set that expectation, because if we do not set that expectation and like, okay, this is your goals, and then we just go through with it. And they're not hitting the goals the first month, second month, they're gonna keep in mind like what's going on, like is it me, is it the offer? But if you set that expectation at the beginning, by the way, this is your goal. Your goal is not your 10K, 20K now. That is, you're gonna get that. We're gonna get there. But your first goal is to get comfortable with the offer, get more confidence, get your reps in, get this, get that. So I think it's very important for you for sales managers watching this to communicate that.
Yeah, and like leave a clear pathway too, right? Where it's like I saw Hermosi talking about this when he was running Gym Launch, right? He had like a massive sales team of setters, people doing triage, closers, freaking CSS, like all the way through.
Like 8-9 roles.
Yeah, he had like 8-9 roles in the sales process, right? And there was like a very clear path that was defined of here's how you get from level to level to level. And like, here's basically how you get to 20K a month within, a month working with us, right? Is in this role, you hit this standard. And then once you hit that standard, now you have to hit this standard. And then this one, this one, this one. And then there's your clear path, right?
Just lay it out.
Yeah. So that's something that, I set with, at least I tried to, with the guys coming in, make that clear. And yeah, because even like on the interviews, my goal is to like create resistance. In the past, I remember one of my first job interviews that I ever took, actually, when we did the initial hiring round. I don't know if you remember that, a long time ago. And yeah, there was like some hotshot who like pulled up on the call, right, that I was interviewing. Some freaking door-to-door hotshot. Confidence, all of that, whatever. And he's like asking about the opportunity. And I was like selling the opportunity to him, I was trying to show him, hey, here's why it's good. This is what it's all about. I'm answering all of his questions. That was like my second fucking interview, and yeah, it should never be the case, right? It's the same like a sale, right? Where it's, I'm going to disqualify. I'm going to be like, hey, it's going to suck. You're going to deal with a bunch of rejection. You have to do a crazy amount of dials. Yeah. You're not going to make a lot of money for your first couple weeks. But if you prove yourself, you can get what you want out of this.
That right there. But negative, but if you prove to yourself, it's gonna be worthwhile.
Boom. Exactly. Exactly. And if they're up for it, great. If they're not, great. Awesome. Like, cool. Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, bro. I'm enjoying this view looking at you, bro. But that light behind you is eye fucking me, bro.
This one?
Yeah, it's like right over my eye, bro. Can we
just twist it down?
Now you look even more beautiful.
Nice.
Yeah.
Good.
But it's gonna be worthwhile. And if they're not okay with it, good. Perfect.
Yeah.
They weren't gonna last anyway.
Yeah.
Seems like that guy did something right though, because like that's something we all spoke about, like that a salesperson should do, right? Try to get that person to. It's a sale at the end of the day, and that's how you showcase your sales skills, like getting me to. Justify
the hot shot?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, he was just like asking a bunch of questions, right? He was like, I was like, how does this work? So how does that work? How does this work? Right? And then like, I'm like, yo, I fucking love this shit. This is the best thing in the world.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, this is how it works, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. But yeah, anyways, we've learned a lot from that.
Remember that guy that came into the office?
The other door to Paul?
Paul?
Yeah.
came in, dick swinging, bro. Like, and he convinced us to give him a base, and we did.
Yeah, that was crazy.
That was a great lesson for us.
Yeah.
To learn from, because he didn't fucking last like 2
Why?
weeks before he left.
Why do you think he didn't? Because he, and I think it was legit. He was making real money doing some other door-to-door thing. Why do you think he didn't last?
Now let's talk about why he said he left, right? Because he left, right? Because he didn't like the way that we were communicating to him or something like that.
Well, one way or another, it was going to end.
Dylan and him had a beef or something. Like they butted head on something. Because we were like, I don't want to talk about the numbers, but we were paying him a pretty decent base.
Yeah.
No, here's what happened. He like came in and he was just like swinging his dick around and saying, I'm going to do all this. Here's what I've fucking done and blah, blah, blah. And like this is at a time where we needed closers.
Right.
And he was also talking about how he was going to bring other guys in, right?
Yeah.
Right off the bat, he was like shadowing me and you, because we were in the office. Rome, I don't think you were in the office at time. Correct me if I'm wrong.
So I'm like blanking on this, but I
Yeah,
remember this
yeah.
guy. I remember his personality. I remember he was good. Like he would have been like a great sales guy if he stayed and he actually went through our process.
Bro, the problem is like the guy, he was like in his 30s with kids, and like he was shadowing, like me and Amaan were like 21, 22, top closers in the office at the time, and he's like shadowing us, and like he couldn't like humble himself, like he couldn't be he couldn't go back to like being a student, because going from door to door to high ticket is such a shift, right? Like it's a very different type of a sale, and you know, you can definitely make the transition very easily, but you really have to be able to be a student, go back to the basics, change your approach, right, and then go from there, right? And I think in his case, because we've seen that a lot, right, with guys who are really good in other spaces, but their ego kind of gets in the way. They can't be a student. And then yes, there was just like a weird relationship always, and like I didn't fucking like him. Like he was annoying. He was annoying as fuck. Like he would like shadow. Like I don't want you to shadow my calls anymore, bro. Like fuck off. Go figure it out yourself. Fucking.
You're giving me feedback on the deal that I closed when you should just be shadowing me. And like that was a big, because we were making more money than him.
Yeah.
And it was just like that definitely hurt someone's ego. But yeah, no, I think it was a case of just him like promising the world and just not delivering on shit. He was like, bro, I'm gonna do X amount of dials. I'm gonna close X amount of people per day. And like in his first month, he closed less than like what?
Yeah, he said I can bring in 100 people. I could bring a lot of people, but it was all talk at the end of the day.
Yeah, and like looking back
God
on
bless
it.
him. Hope he's doing amazing, bro.
Yeah.
Hope you learn from it.
Yeah.
You know, we learned from it equally.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, like looking back on it, it's like, how the hell did we even like bring in a guy like this?
Yeah.
Right? Like, but no, like you know, we learn as we go, right? And again, like that's why it's so cool how we start out with, you know, 90 applicants, and we bring that back down to 5. You know. But cool. Was there anything else that stood out with some of those, you know, 5, you know, with individuals that stood out that, you know, from the rest?
The confidence and the self-belief. So many people nowadays are just filled with doubt, filled with negative thoughts, and I'm not sure how people don't understand this by now, but like that stuff manifests into your reality. I know you're big into this. Like if you're thinking negatively, if you're thinking like, oh, I'm not the most confident person, or if you're thinking, oh, I'm not the most, you know, experienced person compared to the other people, well, you're gonna project that with your energy. Like some of the guys that stood out to me, even if they didn't have sales experience, they were just incredibly confident in themselves. They believed in themselves, and that belief is what, you know, earned them that second interview.
So how do you think someone who's, you know, maybe, but because I got a lot of that too, right? Especially even in the role play setting, where like someone going back and forth and talking to them, it's okay, right? It's fine. But then when we get into a role play, it's like they just lose the confidence completely, and you can tell that like they're fucking shaking, right? Which again, it's an interview. Okay, there's a little bit more pressure. That's fine, right? A little bit of nerves is fine. But like, how can someone who's like preparing for a role, you know, even if they don't have experience, like position themselves to be confident in that moment?
Aside from like preparation, like doing role play, studying the game, and like studying the people in the company and organization you're applying to, straight up like fake it till you make it. Like act as if and you shall become.
I was gonna say.
Like that's my definition of fake it to make it. Act as if and you shall now become. Like what is the confident person who has that role? Or think about it. What are these people hiring for? What are they looking for? You don't need to be a genius to come up with, okay, confidence is probably something they'd want. Personality and charisma is probably something they'd want to see. Like you just come up with like a list of 3 to 5 things and just act as if that person would, and then, you know, the change will follow.
Yeah, even if you have to like, because I used to do this all the time, I had no confidence hopping on sales calls, guys. You know, I would like literally just look at myself in the mirror and was like, you're the best fucking salesperson out there. You're the best fucking salesperson in Ottawa, bro. Who the fuck's in Ottawa, bro? Nobody, bro. It's the capital of Canada. Nobody, bro. You're the best best salesperson here. You're the best fucking salesperson in Ontario, in Canada. Mind you, I made like nothing at this point in sales, but like I would say that and believe it, and I would just like do 5-10 push-ups and I'll hop on the call, bro. You know, just fucking bring that energy, set the tone in the beginning. So I would say, have good energy in the beginning. Have great energy, but then come in with confidence, and hope you fucking prepared for the questions, bro. But
yeah.
Start off strong.
Yeah, that's a go. How would you recommend someone start out?
good energy. Like if you're doing a Zoom call, like be personable. Like, hey, Rome, how are you? Good. I've looked about this about you, this, that. Where are you based out of? Show some interest. You know, if we're doing a video call, maybe compliment me on my shirt, bro. Compliment me on my shirt, on my hair. You know,
Yeah.
compliment me on something. Make me feel good. Make me feel important. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So that's like likability. If you want me to like you right away, so come in high energy, put a smile on your face, compliment. You know, don't be so serious.
Yeah, bro. Someone asked me like, "Hey, so like, what time is it over there?"
6.
Okay, nice. I'm like, cool. Let's get started.
It's 6 o'clock in the 6? No way.
That would have been nice.
Yeah, that would have been good. Yeah. We gotta.
I would have given that guy a death stare if he said that.
Oh yeah.
6 in the
Come
6.
on with your dick on the table, bro. Dick and balls on the table. You know, that's the best thing you can do.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
not in like an arrogant way.
For sure.
In like a very like humble, like I know what I'm capable of sort of way.
Yeah, and like have fun with the conversation, right? Like the ultimate like confidence is when you're having fun, right? When you can laugh, have a joke, you know, in a professional way, right? But like especially in our space, right? Like people are pretty cool. Like no one has a fucking stick up their ass.
Yeah.
At least, you know, we don't, right? Like we run a big team, but you know, we have fun. You know, it's not a big corporation. I just want to get to know you, right? I think that's a big one. We gotta for our next hiring round we do. People are gonna find this video. They're gonna study this thing. But you guys can't fake it. You guys aren't gonna be able to fake it.
Not through us.
Yeah, it's not gonna work. We're gonna have to come up with some new tricks to keep these guys on their toes. Yeah. I think role play also is massive, right? Doing a lot of role play. I could tell who role played and who didn't. You know, it's crazy. Sometimes I still talk to people who are you know getting into the space and they very rarely do role play, right? But yeah, that role play section of the interview very key. I usually I was telling you this, Amaan. I try to throw one is a complete curveball at them, where it's you know I was hitting them with you know, hey, I already spoke to someone from your team. Yeah, I don't have 5K. Yeah, I don't want to do this. In fact, I want my money back. For what I got on the front end, you know, and just like
throws it at
see how they respond,
Yeah.
right? To something completely different.
In fact, I want to fucking replay. Oh my god.
Right. So I like throwing a curveball at them like that, and then going into some type of like you know situational question based where it's impossible to script and you have to be able to think on your feet.
Yeah.
That you can only get good at that through. Really, I mean, unless you have a lot of sales experience, like through hundreds of role plays, hundreds, right? But the thing is nobody's willing to do it. Nobody is willing to do hundreds of role plays over and over and over of the same thing, and that's what sets like even the guys that we train right through MC. Like someone like Giles, right? Like when he pulled up on the interview, 0 sales experience. It's like instantly think about an objection. Boom.
Was it 0
handle
sales
it.
experience with him?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
And
and now
and-
he's making 10K a month.
And a lot of these guys, how often do we hear that? Where it's like someone with no experience, they're like, hey, I had no experience, but I hopped on the interview, and then I just like really surprised the hiring manager with, the role play and whatever, and they gave me a job.
Yeah.
You know, it's literally because everybody is too lazy to do the role play, and that's your advantage.
Yeah, I would love to like if we could even show like you just see his posts that he posted on Instagram.
Oh yeah,
Giles?
yeah, those
Giles,
Yeah.
yeah, from like where he was to like if you had like a recording of that interview, like saying I have no sales experience, and then move in. How many months later? 6.
Yeah.
6 months later, and now he went from the UK, from gloomy UK, all the way to Ottawa. He stayed with us for how many weeks? Learned from us, broke records, went to Miami, stayed at his clients or the coach he's closing for his penthouse.
Yep.
He got him a yacht for his birthday, and he's doing over 10K a month. 6
insane.
months.
Yeah, crazy.
That is a crazy story, guys. It's a case study on Misha. It's
Yeah.
YouTube that he just
Yeah, they can
launched
check
a
it
couple
out.
days ago.
And we have a bunch of other case studies too, just like broken down. But like with every fucking one, every single individual that we've worked with who's gone on and crushed it in a short amount of time, they've done like a massive amount of role play in a very short period of time, right? Like that's it's the same thing with everybody, right? Because then when you do it so much, it's like, bro, you just can't be phased, by some random shit that comes up,
Yep.
right? It just becomes so ingrained into your freaking mental thought process where, that's where confidence comes from, right? Is preparation. So I think that's huge, right? And I could tell like some people didn't really have that preparation on the interview. I think it's important, you do that because that's so easy. That's a couple months, 1 to 2 months, and you can set yourself apart from everybody else.
1, 2 months, 6. Like this guy changes months in 6 months. That changes life in 6 months, bro. Like you have people who take a career. We talked about this last podcast, but fucking 4 years to maybe get a job. Then you could do this. You could do this. Work for 6 months. Put your head in a hoodie, bro, and now you're at 10K a month. You're making more than most people who graduated with a fucking degree.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So crazy. So grateful for this opportunity.
Yeah, because it's a real skill, right? Like imagine because if you were learning sales and all you were doing was just watching YouTube videos.
Yeah.
Or watching or reading books or watching courses or whatever. It's like, bro, you're not gonna, it's the same like school. In school, they put a fucking slideshow in front of you. They tell you memorize it. It's concepts, but the application of those concepts, it's harder to learn, right? Unless you're actually in the game under pressure, developing the skills, right? But I'm trying to think if there's anything else that I was kind of looking out for. We spoke about a few things, right? Like responding fast. The personal development and like aligning with being the type of person that the kind of offer you want to work for is looking for. Having a clear goal and having a clear why, right? I actually want to touch on that for a second, the why, because I got that a lot. Yeah, like you mentioned it, like people are like, oh yeah, well, the 10K a month is everyone's going for that, so I'd like to be there too. I'm like, okay, so you don't even believe in yourself that you can get to that goal. Cool, great. That's my first thought. So I think that goal, it has to relate to my goals, right? I'm the sales manager. I'm qualifying you for my team. You're trying to sell yourself, right? Part of sales is, okay, how can we both align? How can we align our goals and shake hands and make a deal happen, right? Okay, your goal is to make 10K a month, great, but like take some time for the people out there. Like think like what's the hiring manager looking for, right? Like I'm looking for someone who's, one is looking to develop and build a career, right, long term, right? Someone who's going to stick around for years, who's going to put up numbers forever, right? Who's eventually going to be put into a leadership position, someone who's ambitious, right? Those are things that I'm looking for, right? So it's I want to make 10K a month, okay, great, as opposed to, hey, I'm looking to build and grow a career working alongside people who have shared values and mindset. Ultimately, my goals are, I want to be entrepreneurial. I want to be a leader, but I understand I have to learn skills first to do. I don't know, something like this that shows me that you have a bigger picture vision. Beautiful. Love that.
Well, how would they go about finding out like what you, the sales manager, what your goals are? Like if you're giving advice to someone else who's applying for roles, how would that person go about understanding what the company and the sales manager's goals are?
Well, one, I think there's certain things that are just true across the board, like what I just said.
Agreed.
Right? Like there's so much turnover in sales. Sales teams are usually going to be hiring and firing reps pretty frequently. Right? But then there's always going to be like the core sales team that's always there, right? I'm looking for core guys. I'm not looking to train somebody and then, drop them a month later, right? So I think that long-term career-oriented mindset, the goals to grow and move up, into different positions, roles, skills, whatever. I think that's just kind of true across the board.
One more thing, I'll tell you guys, maybe you guys can use it. Because by the way, guys, like I've been learning from you guys. I have my notes open right here. I'm writing notes down for like my next interview. So some questions I missed out, I'm like, fuck,
Nice.
like trying to perfect this. You told me no takers are the money makers, bro. But one thing that I was looking for today is vulnerability. Is to see if they're able to be vulnerable with me. Right, because like sometimes if it like on a sales call, if you want to try to open up a prospect and they're like closed off, you have to be vulnerable first sometimes, right? So I want to see if you're capable of doing that. So what are the questions that I asked them? I think I said, asked them, what are the challenges you're going through in your life right now? And I want to see what they respond. Something generic, or like, let me see if they can be honest too. He's like, honestly, bro, like I've been struggling with like waking up and sleeping on time, and like the gym, being consistent with the gym. I'm like, okay, why? And kind of dig deep. Okay, well, what are you doing to fix that? But yeah, I think a big one is show if they can be vulnerable. I think that's huge. I don't know. Would you say that's a skill, or would you say that's
Well, it's
a value?
Vulnerability.
Vulnerability.
Skill.
Yeah, I would say it's probably a skill.
Skill.
But because I think you have to know yourself if you want to be able to have the ability to, or if you want to be an empathetic person, which is fucking number one skill set in sales, or one of them. Put yourself in other people's shoes. Like you have to really know yourself first and know what your weaknesses are and be able to communicate them.
Exactly.
So yeah, I think that's a big one. Back to what you were saying, like how do you know what they're looking for? One, I think certain things are true across the board, but then I also think it's like just if you don't know, ask, right? Like in a sales conversation,
Same thing.
in a sales conversation, like self-solution selling, right? They're saying, hey, I'm looking for the right fit, right? I'm looking for the right fit for the program to get me to my goals. Okay, what does the right fit look like to you? Take me through that. I want to make sure that we're on the same page, right? If someone asks me, hey, like, what is it that you're looking for, right? Awesome, cool. I'll break down exactly what I'm looking for, I think that's important as well.
Yeah, asking questions, making it more of a conversation as opposed to an interview. Like not only questions like, oh, what's the cost per click? What's the earnings per lead? Like not those basic questions, but just like conversational questions. Like, hey, what are you looking for?
Yeah, you can tell some questions are like straight from fucking YouTube video.
Yeah.
It's bro. I've seen all the YouTube videos. So it's funny because bro, it's really hard to catch us, bro. You can't fake your way through a conversation with us. We've been on too many sales calls, bro. We've been lied to too many times.
We've heard it all, bro.
You think you can lie to me? You think you can lie to
fucking luck, buddy. Good luck trying to bullshit your
And
way
it
through this
doesn't piss us
conversation.
off. It's just like, it pisses us off. It makes us laugh because I'm like, well, I have 63 questions to ask you right now to show you that you're full of shit.
Like you really want
But
me
like,
to call you
but like
out
you
with
just
that?
don't though. You're just like,
Yeah.
okay, nice. Let's move on to the next stage of the
not
interview.
waste any time here.
But anyways, good. This was good. Was there anything else, guys, you wanted to mention about how salespeople can prepare for an interview, or even how sales leaders can go about interviewing salespeople?
I think we covered pretty much all of it, bro. I'm sure there's some things. Like if you're a sales guy, if you don't get accepted to your first interview, it's again everything is a repetition game, right? Like don't expect your first interview to get hired. Like it's a repetition. Fuck it. Even if you need to do 10, 20 interviews, just make sure you're learning from each one and applying it. Even if you have to reach out to them, be like, hey, by the way, like why wasn't I accepted? Because of this, this, and this. And if that's free feedback. Wow.
Yeah, no, that's huge, bro. It's like be okay with that, right? Be okay with rejection.
Yeah, like go into the mindset that it's okay if I don't get this. Like don't go in like needy and like you want this, because that's gonna push me away. Like similarly, when you go out with a girl and then you keep on messaging her like, hey, like did you have fun? Do you want to hang out again? Or like, bro, like that even if she was interested, she's no longer interested because you're needy. So be okay with like not getting the interview. Like I think that's huge.
Yep. Detached from the outcome.
It's not gonna be the end of the world, my guys.
Yeah, it's crazy how everything we're talking about here, it's like exactly the same advice that I would give to a salesperson on sales calls, right? Across the board.
I mean, you're applying for a sales job at the end of the day. Whatever training you've done for sales, like implement it and apply it into your interview.
Yeah, and honestly, like the way I see it, especially seeing the marketplace, seeing what's out there, and especially for certain roles, for people, I think a big part of the guys that watch us are people who are, getting into sales or people who are looking to increase their commissions. Maybe people who are already crushing it, but it's like you got to understand that the people that you're going up against, like they're just not willing to go the extra mile. Like most people, they'll personally develop for a week and then take 3 weeks off, or then a month, right? Like most people just aren't willing to do the work, right? And if you are, like, regardless of your skill set, experience, fucking anything, like those people will come out on top, you know?
Most definitely.
Yep, cool. Let's wrap it up right there.
That was a lot of value, bro.
Cool. Hopefully you guys got value. Like, comment, subscribe. Drop a comment down below with your biggest takeaway. And we'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.
Peace.